Are you guys buying that Taylor Swift would choose to remain silent if she thought or knew that the allegations that were being made against Justin Baldoni are true?
It seemed like the kind of friendship that could survive anything. Taylor Swift and Blake Lively, two powerful women who, for over a decade, were practically inseparable. Red carpet events, family vacations, gushing posts on Instagram. Taylor was even chosen to be the godmother of Blake's children, with Ryan Reynolds. From the outside, their bond looked unbreakable. But was it really? Because now, something seems off. After years of public support for one another, Taylor Swift has gone completely silent. And not just at any random moment. She went radio silent right after Blake Lively publicly claimed she had been sexually harassed during the filming of It Ends With Us. People expected Taylor to be the first one to show support. After all, this is the same Taylor Swift who stood up for victims of harassment and abuse in the past. Remember when she publicly backed Keisha with a $250,000 donation during Keisha's legal battle with Dr. Luke? Or how she took a radio DJ to court for 4 years over her own experience with assault? Just to prove a point, Taylor has always made it clear that she stands with victims. So why the silence now? The answer might be more complicated and a lot more uncomfortable than anyone expected. Because according to sources close to the situation, Taylor Swift doesn't believe Blake.
She then has a best friend of 10 years, okay? They're all over the place together. They're being photographed. They're sharing each other's secrets. They're telling each other everything. They're basically branding each other together. And now we have December of 2024, and her best friend comes out and says, it happened to me too. You know, I was sexually harassed by Justin Baldoni. It's terrible. You're going to tell me these girls were not speaking about this all year, knowing what we know now, knowing that Blake has come out and said Taylor was with her every step of the way?
It all started when Blake Lively dropped a bombshell that no one saw coming. During the production of It Ends With Us, Blake publicly claimed she experienced inappropriate behavior on set. The allegations were serious, and the media immediately jumped on the story. Headlines were everywhere. The reaction? Swift and decisive, at least from the public. Support for Blake came flooding in, with fans and celebrities alike offering their sympathy and outrage. Everyone assumed Taylor would step in, just like she had before. After all, this wasn't just a casual friendship. This was Blake Lively, her best friend for over a decade. But then, nothing. No Instagram post, no carefully crafted statement from her PR team, not even a vague tweet about supporting women in difficult times. Taylor Swift stayed silent. And in the world of Taylor Swift, silence is rarely meaningless. So, what was really going on? Why would someone who had built a reputation for standing with victims suddenly go mute when her closest friend needed her most? The answer might be hiding in plain sight. Because maybe, just maybe, Taylor doesn't believe Blake's version of events.
Brian Friedman needs to get this girl on the stand yesterday. I am telling you, he needs to depose Taylor Swift because she knows something. What it signals to me is that she maybe knew that Blake and Ryan were orchestrating a plan in order to take over this movie.
I can tell you this, anyone that can provide evidence in this case is going to be deposed.
That's Taylor Swift.
She was there for that meeting.
Okay, well, I'm a lawyer. I know what that means.
Taylor Swift's silence wasn't just surprising, it was deafening. For someone known for taking bold public stances, this sudden refusal to speak out raised eyebrows everywhere. Remember, this is the same Taylor who once dragged a radio DJ through a 4-year legal battle over a single inappropriate gesture, just to make a point. She didn't need the money. She sued him for a symbolic $1. It was all about the message. And when Keisha needed help during her high-profile legal fight, Taylor didn't hesitate to make headlines with her $250,000 donation. So why not do the same for Blake? The obvious answer would be that Taylor knows something the public doesn't. What if Taylor had her doubts from the start? After all, she was close enough to Blake and Ryan to see things unfold behind the scenes.
She was with you every step of the way in the making of this movie, which means that you were speaking to her throughout this movie, talking to her about this horrific incident that happened to you. And yet you drop this lawsuit and Taylor Swift elects to remain silent?
Maybe she noticed cracks in the story, details that didn't quite add up, or perhaps she saw the entire situation for what it really was, an overblown conflict that spiraled into a full-blown scandal. Taylor's silence could very well be a quiet statement of its own, a refusal to back something she knows isn't true. Taylor Swift isn't just a singer-songwriter, she's a brand. Every move she makes is calculated, every word carefully chosen. It's no secret that Taylor has mastered the art of controlling her image and manipulating the media narrative when it suits her. Take her infamous feud with Calvin Harris. When their relationship ended, Calvin accused her of playing the media like a fiddle. He hinted that Taylor worked behind the scenes to shape how the public perceived their breakup. Back then, no one wanted to believe it. Calvin was quickly branded the villain, and Taylor's reputation stayed intact. But what if he wasn't entirely wrong? This latest controversy with Blake Lively feels eerily familiar. The difference? This time, Taylor didn't jump in to defend her friend. No public statements, no damage control, just complete silence. Theories started swirling. Could Taylor have known all along that Blake's accusations weren't as clear-cut as they seemed? Maybe she recognized that speaking out would do more harm than good, not just to her brand, but to the fragile story being built around Blake's allegations. Or worse, what if Taylor suspected from the beginning that Blake's claims were part of a calculated move to control the "it ends with us" narrative? After all, Hollywood is no stranger to power plays disguised as victim stories.
But we'll see what the documents actually say, because that's what we have are documents. Documents actually don't lie. People do.
You know, someone asked me recently why this particular case has seized the world. It was just a perfect act of evil that was almost executed in broad daylight. The press was complicit. They almost got it done.
For someone as meticulous and detail-oriented as Taylor Swift, it's hard to imagine her being oblivious to what was happening around her, especially when it comes to Blake Lively, a friend she's known for over a decade. Let's not forget that Taylor was reportedly with Blake every step of the way during the making of It Ends With Us. Blake herself admitted that Taylor was her go-to person throughout the filming process. They talked constantly, exchanged ideas, and leaned on each other for support, which raises an uncomfortable question. If Blake's allegations were true, wouldn't Taylor have known about them long before they hit the headlines? Instead of jumping to defend her best friend, Taylor chose silence, a silence that speaks volumes. Some believe that Taylor knew the full story and simply couldn't back Blake because the facts didn't align with the narrative being pushed. Others think it's even bigger than that. What if Taylor saw the whole situation as a power move? A calculated attempt by Blake and Ryan Reynolds to shift the blame, control the narrative, and ultimately take over the project. It wouldn't be the first time Hollywood insiders used controversy to gain leverage. And Taylor, being the sharp strategist she is, likely saw through it.
She has proven time and time again, no matter what you think about her, whether you love her, whether you hate her, she cares deeply about what the public thinks.
In the world of Hollywood, silence often speaks louder than words. And in this case, Taylor Swift's silence is practically screaming. It's not just that she didn't defend Blake, it's that her silence feels deliberate, almost calculated. For someone who's always been vocal about supporting women and standing against injustice, her refusal to speak up raises serious questions. Did Taylor know something that the public didn't? Was she aware that Blake's version of events wasn't as clear as it seemed? Or did she simply refuse to be dragged into what she saw as a messy, calculated power play? What's clear is that Taylor Swift, one of the most strategic minds in entertainment, made a conscious decision to stay out of this controversy. Maybe she didn't want to risk her own brand. Or maybe, just maybe, she knew from the start that things weren't what they seemed. The question is, what happens next? Is this the beginning of a deeper rift between Taylor and Blake? Will more details come out that change everything? One thing is certain, Hollywood's loudest silence has just sparked its biggest mystery. All right, show's over. Hungry for more twists? You know where to find us. Keep that popcorn hot, we'll handle the drama. Want to catch the next showdown in real time? Hit subscribe and buckle up.